Hi there, it's Jade here, and I am doing a reading today for Susan in the Intuitive Study Group, and I'm using the Mental Health Tarot spread, but the question is, the particular question is about work and whether Susan has you've asked what you should do about your work situation, whether you think you should, whether you should stay or whether you should move on. And so this is a mental health spread, so we're going to approach that from the aspect of your mental health for each of those options. Okay, so let's get going. I'm gonna use the Mermaid Tarot, which is here, and these, I think they're upside down. I like to pull an Oracle card as well, and this is the Ancestors, or Angels and Ancestors Oracle deck. Alrighty. All right, so let's get going. So while we talk, I'm just gonna shuffle. And so the question is, so this is reading is about Susan's mental health and what that might look like in each of the two options. So staying or going. So I'm going to approach this from the perspective of, oops, sorry. I'm going to change the spread a little bit because what I'm going to do is sort of do an option, an option A, option B. So it's going to kind of be a, that didn't work very well. I'm looking over at the spread, sorry, so if I don't sound very eloquent, it's because I'm trying to do 3 things at once. Apparently riffle shuffling is going to be a challenge for me. So we're going to do, yeah, the two, so the option A, option B. So I will pull several cards from the Mental Health Tarot spread for each option. What things look like now in your current position versus what it might look like if you moved positions. And I'm really sorry if this is shaking a little bit. I have a little table here. Okay. Okay, so we're gonna just do the same thing here before I set those out. The Oracle card I will pull will be something to focus on, or an energy to focus on as you try to make your decision, okay? What to focus on as you try to make a decision of staying versus going. I'm going to pull that one first. So an energy to focus on as you decide whether to stay or go. So that is the Direction Guardian. Choose your path. Okay, you saw me shuffle, right? Oh my goodness. Okay. So I'll read what that says in just a moment after I pull these other cards. I do love that deck. All right, so I have shuffled these ones. And so we'll do option A, option B. Option A is staying, and option B is leaving, so going somewhere else. Okay? And again, the Direction Guardian is the energy to focus on as you make your decision as to which direction to go. So for option A, so staying. So if you choose to stay in your current position, the first card is your current mental health. I'm going to adjust the light in just a sec. The second question is, so were you to stay? So that actually doesn't change, right? Okay. So should you decide to stay, what should you pay more attention to? Here, let me adjust this light. Sorry. It's always a struggle. Okay. And the third one is, what could you do to improve your current mental health or your current, mental health from work? Okay, we'll come back to that. And how could you find support? How can you find support to help you cope at your current place? Sorry, I have these all upside down. I'm not flipping the reversals around. I don't read reversals anyway, but in this case, I actually did have the deck just upside down. Okay, and 5 is how you can stay mindful of your well-being while you're at your current position. And a way that you're growing as a person. Okay. All right, now, option B, of course, is, and hopefully we'll have enough room here, but option B, of course, is going, right? Is deciding to make the change in your work. And so, how would your mental health, sorry, dealing with some wires here, sorry about that. So how would your mental health change if you were to move? Put that right there. Now it's the other light that's a problem. I'll move that in a second. And what would you need to pay attention to if you did move, if you did make the decision to move? I need a bigger table is what I need. Something that you could do to improve things. So set yourself up for success in your new position if you were to move. Okay. How could you stay mindful of your well-being if you were to move? Okay, why do I keep flipping these upside down? And finally, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 5 would be, how could you stay mindful of your well-being if you chose to, in the event you chose to move? Okay. So I'm sorry, these are all, squished on here. I'm gonna move some things around. Okay. So move the light, the other light. Hopefully that doesn't cast too many shadows. All right, so so the first card was an oracle card, and this is the Direction Guardian, right? So it says choose your path, and I just had to chuckle because this is, of course, a option B versus option A. Do you leave or do you stay? So it's totally all about direction, right? Which direction do you want to go? Which direction do you want to go in? And in terms of, so this was the energy to focus on. And so I think, your question was an important one for you and for your mental health right now, because you really do need to make a choice. It sounds like this is not something that's just happened in the past few days, right? Like this has been probably ruminating in the back of your head, either consciously or subconsciously for quite some time. And I feel like you're thinking that things are a bit of a stalemate right now. Maybe you've been complacent for a while, so maybe there are some issues, but you're thinking, okay, maybe they'll get better, but then they never do, or they never have. And there's always that, like the grass is always greener on the other side situation. So I think the energy to focus on is right now, it is really important for your own mental well-being to make that decision. So make the decision and then give it your all to, give it your all, get it, move in that path, forget about the other path. So I feel like that's what that is. That's what this card is telling you right now. We can, yeah, okay. So that's what my feeling is about that right now. So option A here is staying. So again, this is all related to your mental health. So your current mental health right now. This card I pulled for you is the Death card. Okay. Now the Death card is, and you can see what's happening here. Let's see. Looks like there's been an oil spill on the ocean or the sea. There's an oil refinery, I guess, there. This person is rescuing the bird that's fallen in all the muck that you can see there, and we've got the sea creatures actually also, so the mermaids also trying to help rescue different sea animals as well. So you can look at this at a few different ways, but in terms of your current mental health, what I see here is that your mental health right now is like this big, it's like the sea. You've got, there's a lot of activities under the surface, and you have just something weighing on you, oppressing you. I'm not sure whether that is just the situation at work or whether there are other issues that are associated with the decision to, with that need to make a decision for staying or going. But you have this muck just you don't have clear waters right now. You're not sure what's happening. You do need that you do know that a change is needed, one way or another, but you just haven't been able to do that just yet. You haven't been able to see past all the dealing with the day-to-day stuff, the individual little problems. So, but you haven't been able to deal with the big picture just yet. So maybe you're trying to get some things in order to help you to make that decision a little bit easier, a little bit clearer. I don't know whether there's other family that's involved. Maybe you're trying to deal with the children's situation, certainly the COVID, the coronavirus pandemic happening right now. Maybe that is all weighing into your, weighing on your mental health and weighing on you and preventing you from making the change that you know that you need to do. All right, so that's your current mental health. The next card was what you need to, so this card represents what you need to pay more attention to should you choose to stay. So this is the Five of Swords, and you can see they're in the Antarctic, maybe Antarctic with the penguins. A bunch of kids, playing around, sort of screwing around with these big sharp implements, and this one has said, yikes, I've just caught myself, and doesn't know how to deal with it. So it is the Five of Swords, as I said. So what you need to pay more attention to, I think, relates back to your mental health again. I don't know whether you've been ignoring it or you've been choosing to deal with individual problems, day-to-day problems that have more to do with the outside, especially with work. So maybe you've been focusing on work too much, to the detriment of your personal well-being, your mental health, your home life. And this is saying, that you're done. You need to make a change because you're going to hurt yourself. Okay, so what you need to pay more attention to is definitely yourself in this situation. And the people around you. So don't forget that you're not alone. you do have people around you who love you and support you and are concerned about you. I mean, just look at the expression on their faces, right? It doesn't look very happy. They were just, they're playing around, and like if you hurt yourself, they're hurt as well. So I don't know if that, I didn't ask whether you had any family or children or anything, but certainly at least friends in your life can see that you're having a tough time, and you can reach out. You do have, people care about you, even the penguin. I don't know whether you have a pet, but there is support. There is support around you. You're not by yourself. Okay, so pay attention to that, and then maybe you can clear up some of the muck, and then finally be able to see your way through things. All right, the third thing was, what can you do to improve your mental health right now? And again, this is work, right? Work related. So again, the fact that it's for work is coming up by the fact that it's wands. And so what can you do to improve your mental health? I think this card really ties into these first two cards. Okay, so first of all, it's work, passion. And I feel like this is saying, you've got you do enjoy what you do. You do enjoy what the work is. You do enjoy or you're passionate about the cause or what your work does. But right now, maybe, right now you can't be like these guys, or you haven't been able to be like these guys where they're all working towards a common goal. They're working together, not against one another. And so in terms of, what you can do to improve your mental health, again, like going back to this card, in terms of reaching out to some friends, right? Maybe you have some coworkers or colleagues that you can reach out to, or other people that do the same thing as you do, and find out how they're coping. Find out what they do to make things better on their mental health, and improve their well-being. Not that you have to do the same things, but sometimes just talking to people and giving them a view into your life, share more about yourself and your struggles, and they can help you, right? They're in your corner. We already know from here, they're in your corner. At least the people that you can truly count on. And I think there's more people than you think, in terms of being able to count on. So what you can do is reach out for support, and that might actually end up, doing you a lot of good. You'll move past this tough time. The fourth card was, how can you find support to help you? And here we have, so again, this is, so wands for me typically represent work or some creative endeavor, creative passion. And I think this is saying that, there is somebody around you. I don't know, do you have a mentor at work, or do you have a person who's, been around the block a few times at your work, that has been there for some time, or has just really figured out how to keep their own mental health in check, their own passions in check. And I think this is telling you that there is somebody there. So I'm hoping that this resonates, that you do have somebody that you can turn to with some questions. Maybe it's someone that you haven't really approached before in this way, but I think being open to vulnerabilities is not always a bad thing at work, or even just asking them, like, how are they dealing with the different stresses that you're both perhaps encountering at work. So reach out to someone in your workplace that has the experience, maybe hasn't been there for 20 years, but just seems to have a solid grasp of how to move past the challenges while maintaining their own sanity. All right, let's move that out of the way here. I'm going to put that there. The fifth card was, how can you stay mindful of your well-being? Again, this is staying. So how can you stay mindful of your well-being? You have to think about it. You have to make sure that you are taking care of yourself, and ask for help when you need it. But you have this, I think you have a vision of where you see things going for you. And that can also be just status quo. I'm happy doing what I'm doing, and I just want to keep doing that. But keep whatever that goal is, keep that in mind. So, maybe you write it out and you stick it up on the mirror or something, so you see it every day. That can be an affirmation. Let's try to keep calm. Let's try to not keep calm, but let's try to keep our mental health let's keep checking in. Could be a reminder on your phone that you set up for a little while anyways, till you don't need it anymore. Every hour, it reminds you, okay, mental health check-in. How am I doing? Am I being stressed out right now? How can I deal with this better? How can I improve my mental health? So think about it. Focus on getting that water clear. Know exactly what you want, because if you know exactly what you need, and you're gonna know as soon as that water, or your emotions, your breath, your blood pressure changes. Sometimes we don't recognize that. Sometimes we have to take that pause and think, okay, why am I so stressed out right now? Why is my blood pressure rising? And recognize that, and actively breathe it out. Take some time. Think about what's happening right at that moment in your body. Be present in your body. And once you start recognizing those things, okay, have some plans ahead of time as to what you're going to do. And keeping that end goal in mind, is going to help you figure that out. But you need to I feel like you need to make some plans ahead of time as to, okay, if my blood pressure starts rising, if you know it's one particular person that's causing a major challenge for you, coming up with some ideas to help you manage your own emotions when you have to deal with this person, I think will go a long way. Okay, and the last card. Okay, so the sixth question was a way that you are growing as a person while in your current work. And this card is the Eight of Wands. There's a lot of Wands cards here. Okay, so we've got a volcano that's underwater, and these are all reaching up towards the surface. They're moving pretty quick so that they don't go out. I'm not sure whether it looks like she's reaching for it. She's reaching for it, not letting go, or trying not to let go. There's another volcano here that's looking like it's starting to erupt as well. So how are you growing as a person? I think that your passion for your work is growing, and I think you're starting to realize that your passion for your work is all well and good, but it's passion is typically an emotional thing. So that's wonderful that you're passionate about what you're doing. Things are moving very quickly. But I think you're starting to realize that, having a passion for some creative endeavor or for what you're doing for employment is only takes you so far. And taking care of your emotional well-being and your mental well-being is really important, and you got to do it quick. So a way that you're growing, I think, is just having recognized that there's this big issue that you need to deal with, and you need to deal with it quickly. So perhaps that was not something that you typically acknowledged before. Maybe it was just about the creativity, the passion, whatever endeavor you were working on was all important, and you sort of subverted your own needs for that. Maybe you ignored friends and family, or whatever the situation might be for work. Are you putting in 24-hour days, 20-hour days, 18-hour days without rest? I think you're starting to recognize that that's not a great way to go if you want to maintain that passion and creativity. And sometimes just recognizing it is a huge period of growth. Okay. So again, this was option A, staying. So yeah, okay. So we'll move on to option B. So I hope this is resonating with you in some way. So option B was choosing to leave. So if you chose to leave, let's just move these over here. Okay. So if you chose to leave, what would your mental health look like? So this is not necessarily at your new position, right? This is your mental health should you choose to go, right? Because remember, the energy we have to look at is choosing your path. So if you choose to go, the card I pulled for you is the Five of Pentacles. And so I feel like this card is saying a couple of things. One is you're going to be conflicted, right? There's going to be this conflict. There's a, maybe you'll be sad. I don't know what it is that you're working on right now, but choosing to leave someplace, especially if you've been there for a while, or especially if you're super passionate about it and you're not sure how the new position is going to, how your role there will completely unfold, or how you like the people, or how you like the culture of the new place. That all can weigh down on you, right? So right now, if you choose to go, that's not going to go right away. But look at the coins here, right? She's holding up these coins. So I'm feeling like, and again, the 5 follows the 4. So the 4 being a stable place, a status quo, right? Which is your option A of staying. And then the 5 disrupts that status quo. So once you make that decision, it's not going to be all roses, because things are going to change. As soon as you make the announcement that you want to leave, work might be a little bit challenging in terms of just having to explain yourself to your colleagues or your friends at work, and your boss. So it's not all gonna be roses right at the beginning of making that decision. Okay. Also interesting to note that for me, the coins also represent health in general. So that can be mental health as well as your physical health, right? So again, going from that going from that status quo right now where you are just in this position of churning, going back to the death card here, you're in this position where things are just a mess internally, right? Your mental health is just a churning disaster at the moment. Maybe not. Maybe I'm being hyperbolic and it's not really all that bad, but I feel like things are, you really don't know. You're really struggling with a choice. So that would be the status quo right now. And if you were to make the decision to go, you're going from the 4 status quo to a 5. So things would definitely change, right? So your mental health would change. Whether it's for the good or the bad, we don't know yet. Okay, so the second card in terms of deciding to go is what you need to pay more attention to. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we have the Moon card. So what you need to pay attention to, you need to pay attention to your breath. You need to pay attention to what's underneath. So you need to pay attention to this, right? This all seems to sort of be tying together, which is great. So I'm hoping that it does resonate. But pay attention to what's going on under the water. Pay attention to your mental health. Pay attention to your breath. Be present. The moon for me tends to be about my subconscious, and so I don't know whether you've been having some dreams lately, but try to record them. Try to make sense of them, and try to better align your subconscious with your conscious minds. And I feel like, in this card, which represented your mental health in your current position, the sea is a churning mess. It's not clear. Whereas here, the water is clear. And, again, like we are trying to, it's what we need to pay attention to, right? So which was back here to the 5 of Swords. So right now you're suffering. And recognizing that you definitely need to make some change because you're starting to hurt. Whereas here, this person is breathing, is singing. You can see all the notes. So pay attention to yourself and whether you really think that this new position is going to really help, right? Is it going to allow you to better take care of your mental health? Is it going to allow you the space? Maybe it won't be as crazy busy as your current place, and you'll just have simply more time, or maybe you'll just make it a bigger priority. The third question was something that you could do to improve your mental health once you decide to move, or if you decide to move, sorry. I pulled for you another major arcana card. Wow. And this card is the High Priestess, who again is about, for me, is about the subconscious, is about study, is about your internal world as opposed to your external world. And this card kind of reminds me of the Magician card, because it does have all the tools in front of her, or something in the air, so she's manifesting something. And so really, I think this is saying that should you decide to move, how you can improve your or something you can do to improve your mental health is study. Figure out what what your subconscious needs, what your conscious needs, what your body and your mind need, and make a plan. Because see, all this water down here is churning, but up where she is, up behind her, it's pretty clear. So what you can do is figure out a way to transform this into this. Calm waters. Perhaps it's meditation. Perhaps it's studying through tarot. Perhaps it's taking some classes on alternative conflict resolution or negotiation. Okay, but there's some study, there's some work that you need to do. Perhaps you've been ignoring it for work purposes, but it's time to come back to yourself and figure out what you need to do. So a new position, again, this option relates to going to another workplace. So if you decide to move, don't just move and not change anything, right? Because your old baggage will be coming right along with you. And so if your baggage comes along with you, that's not really going to help your mental health unless you choose to do something about it. So it's up to you to study, to figure out what you need to do to help yourself. The fourth card was how you could find support to help you cope should you make the decision to leave. And this is the Ace of Cups, which is all about abundance. There's an abundance of life here. There's an abundance of life. There's an abundance of, sort of riches. This is a giant freaking cup. And so should you decide to leave, were you to decide to leave, you can find support to help you cope, really by reaching out to the people around you. That could be at your new position, finding a new colleague. So if you were, assuming you went to a new position, and you have new colleagues, finding somebody there that you connect with and that you can share emotions with, and that can help guide you into how things work, just to keep you from going a little bit, your mind from going into overdrive because you're at a new position. Starting at a new position often sounds like great, right? It's a new opportunity, but it can also be very stressful because you don't know the ropes yet. You're just learning. You don't know the people. You don't know how you're going to get along with them. So I think that, it's a fresh start, fresh emotional start with the new relationships that you will make when you're there. And I think that is how you can find support. So if you don't have it in your current friends, reaching out to your new colleagues as well would really help. Okay, and card 5 is how could you stay mindful of your well-being should you choose to go? The card I pulled for you is another major arcana, which is the Emperor. And he looks pretty stern, right? Thou shalt not pass. You will do what I say when I say it, and you're going to do it properly, and you're not going to deviate for that, or you might find yourself on the end of that trident. So how can you stay mindful of your well-being should you choose to go? Make sure that you've got some structure. So, when we were talking over here about what your well-being would look like, should you make the decision to jump your current ship, and sort of struggling with did I make the right decision? Going from what's known to something that's unknown, and the stress that that can bring. And I think that and then we talked about breathing through it, right? Breathing through it, connecting your subconscious to your conscious, and sometimes that requires we're not used to doing something of that nature or keeping that in mind. At least I know that I'm not. I need reminders. And so even just the simple structure of setting reminders on your phone or your watch to check in with yourself for a little while until it becomes second nature and you do it automatically. Structure. So you would bring in some structure, such as the automated reminders, to help you cope in the short term, or not cope, but staying mindful, right? We're bringing that mindfulness to what's happening below the surface. Yeah. Okay. So I hope that resonated. So just as a quick summary, the energy that you needed to keep in mind as you make your decision as to whether to stay at your current work position or whether you should leave, and how your mental, in terms of your mental health, you recognize at the moment that you really need to make a decision, right? So don't let analysis paralysis stop you from making a decision. You need to just, as people say, you got to poop or get off the pot, right? Poop or get off the pot, right? And so just make that decision. You're going to use all of your senses and knowledge of both situations to make that decision, but you need to make that decision. Okay. So should you stay to actually, before we get to the options, your current mental health right now is not great with respect to this. You're having a big challenge. You've got this slick that's weighing on you. It's a lot heavier than water, and it's really churning up your insides, your mental insides right now. And you don't know whether you're above water or underwater at the moment. You just know that things need to change, and you need to stop worrying about just always dealing with other people. You need to take care of your own mental health. So just recognizing that you have this issue, I think, is a huge step. But your mental health right now is just, it's a bit of a challenge for you. What you need to pay more attention to is yourself. You need to pay attention to the fact that perhaps you've been ignoring things for too long. You've been ignoring your own needs and wants or desires, but definitely your own needs because of work. You're hurt. And you need to pay attention to that. You have people around you who care for you, and who want to comfort you. And I would reach out to them. It doesn't have to be friends. It can be a mental health professional, of course. But you need to pay attention right now to yourself. Okay, you've got a warning. It's just a shallow wound, right? He's not going to die from it, and neither will you. But it's kind of that shot across the bow right now, and you need to recognize that, or your body will make you, as they often tend to. Okay, then in terms of what can you do to improve your mental health, is look back at your passion. Why are you so passionate about what it is that you're doing at your current job? Reach out to like-minded folks reach out to those friends and families, and try to get everybody on the same page and working in the same direction. Okay, rekindle that flame. Perhaps you just run down, right? And work is a lot easier if there's more people, more hands. How you can find support. This is telling me that there is somebody at work that you can reach out to, and that has some influence to make things happen. Okay, so reach out to that person and open up a little bit, and you might be pleasantly surprised that they're on your side and they can actually make a difference in your current work situation, which could then help you to make the changes that you need to improve your mental health. How you could stay mindful of your well-being. So this was a major arcana card, which is the Star, and it's breathe through it. Keep trying to connect your, now that you've recognized that you have an issue, that you've been ignoring things, have a goal. What exactly do you want out of your life? What exactly do you want your life to look like, at least on the inside? And keep that goal, breathe through it, ask for help, and keep trying to connect those two. And then the way that you're growing as a person. I've kind of mixed these cards up a little bit. Here we are. How you're growing as a person is that you have finally recognized that you have an issue, that you have an issue with your internal well-being because of work. And that takes a lot. That's really important. Not everybody does. People struggle day to day and don't really think about that higher picture. But you're finally realizing that, maybe you need to grab onto the creativity again, or maybe you need to let things go. She could very well be letting go of that one. Her hand is open behind it, so she's either trying to grab it or letting it go. And the best person to figure that out is you. But I think you've really recognized that you need to do something, and that is growth, my dear. Okay, so that is option A, staying. In terms of going, what would your mental health look like were you to make the decision to go? So this is not your mental health at your new position, but just making the decision to go, and you're definitely going to break the stalemate, right? You're going to make a change. Your mental health might be, when you're in that transition period of handing in your resignation letter and starting a new position, things are a little bit, and even shortly after, things are a bit challenging as we just try to adapt to the new situation. So that's, not great, but you need to make sure that you are taking care of your mental health. So be gentle with yourself. Reach out to your friends because they are, they're there to help. Okay. What you would need to pay more attention to is breathing. So if you were to make the decision to go, you have to recognize that things are going to be unknown for a little bit, right? You still won't know. You'll make the decision to go. You won't know exactly how things are going to look at the new position. But you can, now that you're more mindful of your mental health, you can make a plan, make sure that you keep breathing, keep trying to connect that internal and external side of things. And of course, you have to put the work in. You have to put in the work. So we've got the full moon in both of these, right? The unknown. And you need to do the work. Figure out how to make that change to your mental health beyond just going from one job to the other, because your emotional baggage will come with you. So you have to figure that out. Okay, you need to put some work into that, whether it's meditation or pathworking or doing some yoga, taking care of things internally and externally. Alrighty. Your how do you find support to help you cope? You will have a fresh new start, right? So in that fresh new start, there's new opportunity. There's going to be new relationships that you start and can develop, and reach out, be a little bit more vulnerable, and you'll find that people will reciprocate. And then finally, how do you stay mindful of your well-being should you make that decision to jump ship? And that is by putting some structure in. Help yourself set yourself up for success. So taking those breathing, setting up a structure, maybe it's just an hour of yoga every day, I don't know, or every third day. Having some structure to take care of yourself, building in the time into your calendar is going to really help you stay mindful, because you may find that say you took up yoga and you had a practice where you were doing yoga 4 times a week, and you got to a place where that you found that was really helping you, helping your mental health, and then you skip a week, you'll probably find that your mental health is affected as a result, and not in a great way. And so structures can help us to keep ourselves in check, keep ourselves. All right, so my apologies, I got interrupted yet again. Forgot where I was. I think we were just talking about structure. So should you choose to stay, there's definitely things that you can work on here, right? So you've recognized that things are not great. I think that perhaps you haven't recognized yet that there are people around you that see you hurt or floundering right now and want to help you. Okay, and there are people around you. You just maybe have to take a chance and be vulnerable, which is not always the easiest thing to do. Keep your end goal in mind, which is to have a more connected subconscious and conscious. You don't want them always at odds with each other, which they are right now. And your work, I don't know whether this is a rekindling of a passion, or the fact that you need to temper it a little bit by letting go some things. Maybe you've taken on too much, and you recognize that you need to let things go. Only you can make that decision, but you're growing just by making that recognition. So, and then should you choose to go, you've got 2 major arcana here. I'm sorry, 3 major arcana here. And I feel like, just in summary, I kind of feel like this is telling me that your baggage will still come with you. It's not going to be an easy ride. Everything doesn't just stop when you change jobs. The day-to-day stuff, the floundering and trying to deal with individual disasters, that will change. But you still have this subconscious piece, or even which is conscious now. You've recognized that things are challenging, and you're gonna need to work. You're gonna need to work to pull that together. But this would be a fresh start, and it's often easier to remake yourself, to transform yourself when you have a fresh start. New people, new relationships, and perhaps a new structure in place will help you be more mindful of what's going on in your body, and give you more opportunities to work on your inner mental health. Anyway, so I'm sorry that that was a ramble. I hope it wasn't too choppy because I did have a few interruptions, unfortunately. And I hope this resonates with you, but I would like to know either way. Please, I would really appreciate it. I am practicing, of course, so I really want to understand where this resonates with you versus where it really didn't. And if we need to pull a couple of extra cards just to provide some clarification, then I'm happy to do that as well. But I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much for letting me read for you, and I'm looking forward to your feedback.